It's nothing that's a saving in a house on fire. Could you stay a while?
Welcome everyone to another wonderful episode of Three Different Dads, episode 48. I am Lorenzo. With me as always, Ty and Jim. I guess not as always, but for the most part, Ty and Jim. What's up, guys? Before we got on, we were talking about the Browns, and I went upstairs to go do something. It was 20-19, and then I just before I started recording, it was 36-19. What the hell happened?
I got out of hand real quick.
Yeah.
Joe Flacco threw an interception.
Don't say anything more.
20-19. The Rams drove the field in like a minute or two, scored. The Browns went 3 and out or 4 and out. They scored again. The Browns then they got somehow backed up to the 1 yard line. Flacco got a safety. It escalated quickly. I was telling you, this is my hot take: is the Browns are not good. I was hopeful going into 2 weeks ago, and then they had, I thought, a bad loss to Denver. It's weird because like they're seemingly catching all of the teams that are like starting to figure shit out now. Like Denver before today ripped off 4 or 5 wins in a row. The Rams after today won 3 in a row. So it's like the Browns are nosediving. They're playing teams that are on the uptick.
I mean,
so not great.
I feel like your hopes weren't too high with Joe Flacco as your quarterback.
They're not. No. I thought they were maybe a playoff team.
With the rapist?
I thought their team was
DTR?
good enough. Yeah, I thought their team was good enough, but I didn't think they would win a playoff game. But I thought their team was pretty solid. But now it looks like the injuries are starting to really fucking catch up because the offensive, like, I don't know. The center the last 2 weeks in a row has somehow gotten a penalty to he's moving the ball forward. It was hilarious because after they called it this week, they zoomed in on Stefanski and you could clearly read his lips. You got to be fucking kidding me. And then so after that the Rams got the ball back. They completed a pass like a 15-yard out, went out of bounds. It was clearly in bounds. I'm pretty sure Stefanski challenged the call just so he could give that sideline ref that made that call more shit, because like there was no other reason to even challenge that play. So
on the flip side,
not feeling great.
Go ahead, Jim.
We're on episode 48, guys.
Yes.
I have some 48 fun facts for us.
Are we changing the subject?
Yeah,
We're
Browns.
done with the
Yeah, we're done with
Browns are done.
It's the
do you
Browns,
want to
yeah.
talk about the Browns anymore?
Well, I did want to talk a little bit about.
I feel like we
football.
gave them too much.
Well, we can talk about football. Just
okay.
We'll get these quick facts for 48.
Okay, facts.
New segment.
48.
New
Okay.
segment that doesn't have a name, but it's been around for about 4 episodes now.
So there is the first 48 is an American crime program.
Okay.
There's a show called 48 Hours.
Are you just gonna do 48? Okay, go ahead.
48 Hours is also a hit 1982 film starring Nick Nolte and Eddie Murphy. And there is a 48 Hours too. It's a great movie.
Who do you think
If
will
you
be
like-
the 48th president? That's 2 away for those of you counting.
That's a lot. Yeah.
That's a long time from now.
Do you guys know what the 48th state in the union was?
Alaska,
No.
Negative.
Hawaii.
Negative again.
No, those were the last 2.
Tyler's visited this state in the last year.
Washington.
I know. Negative.
In the last year, where did it? Arizona?
Arizona.
Oh,
Really?
All right.
There is
Not surprising though. It's a desert. It's desolate.
48 minutes in an NBA game.
Okay.
Fun fact.
All right.
Hey, can I?
David Beckham and Travis Barker are all 48.
Okay.
And
Shout out. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jim.
No,
finish.
yeah. Okay. Notable people that wore number 48. Jacob deGrom.
Yeah.
Torrey Hunter.
Mariano
and
Rivera.
Eric
He was
Gagne, he
42.
wore 42.
He was 42.
That was a shot. Just trying.
So
Travis
that
Hunter
would have been
or Hafner. Did Travis Hafner
Hafner.
win? Hafner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Boom.
Pronk.
Pronk. I met him one time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice
That
guy.
it?
He that was the story. No,
Okay.
he came out to Put in Bay for like the All-Star game, in their little mini All-Star break. He drove a H2 Hummer, which was very fitting, I thought, for him.
Yeah.
But he was nice. He was pretty down
Didn't
there.
he
Good.
dip out? Because didn't he sign that like his big contract extension like that next day?
Yeah. He did. Like he signed some sort of extension when he was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember that because like it was weird. Like the timing was very interesting. He was there, and then that extension news broke.
As much as I love Put in Bay, if I was a pro athlete, I don't know if that would be where I would spend my break.
your time, yeah.
Yes.
Where did he go after Cleveland?
Yankees?
Ty?
I honestly don't remember. Where did he
Yeah.
go?
Yankees for 1 year.
Yankees.
Yep.
Did he go anywhere
And
after
a
that? Or
ball.
was he
No.
just done? He was just
Cleveland
done.
and Cleveland 2012, Yankees in 2013. That's it.
It's weird to think of like some Indians that were awesome and then just fell off a cliff. Once Grady Sizemore,
Yeah.
he was going to be the man.
front office is catching some slack right now, or some heat on
But
Twitter. FYI,
It's
For all you
good though
Twitter
to have a professional team where the ownership doesn't have money. According to Lorenzo, he prefers that over owners that are
That
ultra
wasn't
wealthy.
his
Again, that's
point.
not what I'm
That
saying.
was-
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope,
That's not what I'm
exactly
saying.
what you said.
Okay. I said, I never said, yeah, just please be poor and never spend money. Those words, if you want to read the text, those texts never came out.
We will. So the Dallas Mavericks just were sold recently to a family from Las Vegas, and this family has more money than the Rangers ownership, Cowboys ownership,
A lot of
and the
people.
Dallas Star ownership put together as the basketball one. And I was like, well, I'm excited. It gives you more options.
Sure.
Lorenzo said it doesn't.
I agreed.
Doesn't
I
do
agreed. It gives you
anything.
more options.
No. Nope.
All I said was that
Build
is not
through the
the end
draft.
all. That is not the end all be all. I did say build through the draft. I mean, again,
Bill-
look at all the teams that are doing well. Even your team, that's doing well with
We're
your
not
best
doing
player,
well.
maybe the best player in the NBA
Obviously.
draft. Your rookie that you love so much that
Which-
you keep stroking him off.
Sorry,
Draft.
when did you draft him? He's top 10.
Who?
Yeah, he was
Right.
number 10. Lively.
So to my point, so I was telling you about Curry last night in that text chain too, where a lot and Lorenzo even alluded to it too, is a lot of it is luck. Like
Jimmy said that also. Jimmy said that
Yeah,
also.
yeah. Like you don't know who's gonna hit. If anyone had an inkling that Steph Curry would be any good, how he went late.
The NBA is the worst at it.
Yeah. Oh, you're saying for judging talent, or
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with that. Although the Browns could argue that too.
Baseball
don't-
might be up there as well.
A thing that we're also forgetting about spending money in NBA is very few times does a star leave to go because of a contract. Because of how the contracts are, your home team. Yeah, hold on. Let me finish my point. Your home team, the team that you have, can pay you the most. So, yes, they can get paid and then they get traded, but then you're set. You're doing like what the Clippers did when they got Paul George and giving away all kinds of stuff. So it doesn't matter like, oh, this guy's going to be a free agent, we should be able to sign him. It doesn't happen all that often where a free agent just doesn't sign with their home team because they can't make money, because they can make the most money with their current
The organization that they're with. Yeah.
team.
Yeah.
Years and money.
Correct. But my whole point is, if you look at like Oklahoma City, they traded Harden early because they did not want to be in the luxury tax. And so because of that move, and then they whiffed on their next draft pick, then Durant was kind of was not happy at that point. So all I'm saying, it gives you more flexibility. If you're in a position where you have these things, then it's like you have an owner that is open to spend more money, then I think that's a good thing.
Sure.
I think you have to have
it's not it's not just saying, hey, we're going to write that person a check. That doesn't happen anymore because
Correct.
of the rules. So and you still have to match salaries. Like that's another NBA thing too, is you can't just give this person, say, hey, we're gonna send this person who's making 50 million a year, and you're gonna get back people who are making 10 million a year. You still have to match salaries. So even if you have the most money, it's still salary for salary. Plus, you're giving up draft picks, potential draft picks that who knows what's gonna happen with those. No one knows, but you're giving up those. So even having the most money doesn't matter. Everything's really balanced out when players don't want to leave just because of money, because that doesn't they don't do that unless you're
Correct.
unless
You
someone's
do
going to say
also-
like, here's 5 million. No, I want to go make 10 million over here.
Yeah, but you also obviously have to have a competent like GM, like front office, like because it's one thing like, oh, okay, the ownership is willing to spend money, but I don't know. Like I just think of like the Ravens of old, like they had a really good ownership group that was competent, made a lot of good decisions for the front office, and then that obviously makes the ownership group look good. So,
Like Jimmy said, football's a little easier with that kind of stuff, especially drafting wise. If you're not drafting a quarterback, anyway,
do you feel like
quarterback's 50-50.
Yeah, do you feel football is just down overall this year? Like I feel like a lot of the games are just like the play is just shit. Like I don't know. It's just been
Yeah, I have a hard time watching it. I don't know a lot of the guys in there. Like it's I don't know.
You know why?
I know
You know why? It's because like
so
half the
many
league
quarterbacks are
doesn't
hurt.
have their quarterback.
Yeah.
And in such a quarterback, when your league is the quarterbacks and then you don't have them, it's not going to be very good.
But a lot of the quarterbacks also bust. Right?
Yeah,
Like
there's
I'm just
a-
saying if you
yeah.
wrap
Herbert,
yeah.
Herbert hasn't like taken that step. Like it's like Mac Jones, people thought he might have a decent season this year. Like he fell off the wagon completely. Like and that was the only game really that I watched or I saw highlights of today was a 6-0 Chargers game. So
Yeah.
I mean it's not, but
Mateo laughed.
no-
He told me the score, and when he laughed and said it.
there's no
It was
like
so bad.
Manning's playing Brady or Manning's playing Breeze or whatever it may be. Like those matchups are very difficult. And I hate the Eagles, but it's like the Eagles or the Chiefs are your only two. Cowboys are playing well now, but they need to like prove it. But
Eagles just got worked though tonight.
yeah, they did.
Yeah. So
With Brock Purdy,
But-
who's making
But-
$800,000.
But like, are you? Hey, I'm busy in my life. I want to go watch Brock Purdy play tonight.
I was going to watch that game. I couldn't find it on TV, so I watched a little bit on my phone. I just couldn't do it. But me and
It
Mateo
was-
sat down at the start of the game, and we were trying to find it so we could watch it. But yes, I was going to watch that game.
You have a hard
It
time
was,
finding Fox.
no, it was the game.
It wasn't
of,
here.
What do they call? What does Fox call it? Like the game of America or whatever. But
It was
the
Browns
because-
Rams were here.
because the Browns were
Oh,
playing.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Browns were playing
Yeah.
an NFC West team out, after 4:00, so they're on Fox. It's like always a Fox game when it's that
Yeah.
late in NFC. So yeah, we
I
didn't
tell
get to
people
watch the
down
good
here
game.
because they're like, "Oh, who's your football team?" I'm like, I'm happy when Dallas wins. I don't really care that much about the NFL compared to other things. And then they're like, "Oh, that's kind of weird." I'm like, "Well, growing up, the Browns weren't even around until like ninth grade, really. And then when they came, they sucked. We had the Lions on Fox, and then sometimes we'd get the Bengals. So it's not like we got amazing football that we got to watch or even get interested in. So
Correct.
I
not
was
sure
gonna-
what that solves, but yeah.
Interesting stat I saw. The Browns have not won a West Coast game since 2012.
I
So,
heard that.
There you
I
go.
heard that they have not won since an Oakland trip, and that was probably like Rich Gannon time, or was that too early?
I don't know. Any more NFL talk before I change subjects?
I think I'm done.
Big game next week though, Jim. I don't know if you care about it
Yeah.
or not, but
No, it will be good.
What's the game?
Cowboys Eagles.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. Mailbag real quick. This is a
Ooh.
text more than a mailbag, but it's from our super fan Rachel. She said I was going to text you yesterday about this was last week. Wednesday morning, when our episodes come out. I was going to text you yesterday about the lack of Three Different Dads episode, and then one came out. She said, I was a 16-year-old dating a 19-year-old at one time. I married him eventually. So does that make a
Pervert.
difference? Is that
Pervert.
pervert? So that's all our mailbag this week. But
So the Mavs played Oklahoma City last night, and
oh yeah, with Giddy. That started the whole thing.
It did.
they booed him every time he touched the ball.
I'm sure.
It was fun to watch. Yeah, and he played like shit too.
Jim came through in the clutch. So I got to shout out to Jim. Jim gave us a hot betting tip last night. Jim
just you, I guess, huh?
Yeah, I guess.
Well,
maybe he forgot
Rick.
to send it your way.
Okay.
But Rick came down to visit. Hadn't seen him in a while since he was training for ATF. But anyway, came down to visit, and we're sitting there, and Jim, all of a sudden, like Rick's like, Jim's telling us to bet Luca, and I was like, why? He's like, Jim said he just had a kid, and what was it, Jim? He came out on the court and he had like his child's like name
on the Luka Doncic shoes.
Yeah. He's like, so we got to bet the over. And I look it up. I said, it's 35.5. He ended with 36 points. So we cashed. So we did
I
that.
think he had 38. I thought he had more than that, but
no, he ended with 30. Well, at least the app said 36, but it cashed. That was the big thing. So
also, I know no one cares about when we talk about basketball, but the Mavs scored 30 straight.
I was saying,
points
was that the
night.
game? Was that the game they scored? They went on a 30-0 run,
and they still didn't win.
Lost.
They were down huge.
They lost though.
They did.
So they took the lead at that point, and then Luka got called for a travel, which when he caught, like, it's weird. It happens a million times in the game, and they just never call it. And then in that instant, they called it, and so Oklahoma got the ball back. They scored right away. The Mavs were out without Kyrie or Hardaway Jr. That's the reason why I told those guys.
That was
bet it,
also
too.
yes.
Okay.
That was in the insider.
He's the only one
too.
that's going to score.
Yeah.
But Oklahoma also just would double Luka whenever he had the ball. So
he did.
But it was.
Jim gave us a lot of good betting points. He told us about the injuries. He told us about it's going to be a kid's, like for the kid game. He told us about, like several stats. And I was like, okay, this sounds like a good bet. So
what'd you put on it?
I put 50, Rick put 50. So it was even, it was like plus 100. So it was even money. So we won $100 after our 50 bet. So
nice.
It was good.
You guys are welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Jim should have bet that because when he owes it to me at the end of the season, at least he would have washed and it had been a wash.
Oh, burn.
It is illegal to bet on sports in the state of Texas. So I don't break the rules.
Well, you made a bet on this podcast.
Not through a betting app. Friendly wager I made.
Number 6 right now. They're number 6.
A gentleman's
That's all right.
wager.
It's kind of a cluster F up there.
It is. There is
yeah. No one's like pulling away.
Timberwolves, and then between 2 and 7, it's a two game difference.
Do you guys want to hear my bad beat today for my betting as well?
Do we have a choice?
Yes.
No.
You have a choice.
No, go ahead.
I considered this a bad beat because as soon as it happened, I was like, fuck. But okay. So I did a crazy, stupid 8 parlay. Okay.
Those always win. Yeah.
Listen to it though.
First of all,
yes.
How much did you bet for how much to win?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, what were the
$10? $10. The plus
$1.7 million.
No, I would have cleared $2,800 off a $10 bet, but it was like because of your winnings, Jim. I took just a little bit of it, and I said, let's just have a little fun.
All right, let's hear this.
Tyreek Hill touchdown that cashed. Okay. Derrick Henry touchdown that cashed. I had 3 legs in the 49ers game against the Philly. Deebo Samuels cashed. Christian McCaffrey touchdown cashed. Jalen Hurts over a touchdown, so that cashed. Rashard White, who is the running back for Tampa Bay, cashed. Mike Evans touchdown, Tampa Bay cashed. The one that I didn't get it, and it happened early, Tank Dell went down.
Oh, he went out.
He went down, and I was like, fuck. And I knew what was going to happen was I was like, watch, everything else will hit. And I hit 7 out of 8. And that's the way the cookie crumbles for betting.
What would have
I
happened?
did not know like 4 of those people that you said.
Really?
I don't know who's Tank Dell.
He plays for the Houston. He's a rookie receiver.
Yeah, he was having a really good year, but
Yeah.
of course, I was just like, wow, I was checking each game obviously early, and I looked at it and it says Tank Dell carted off, and I was like, God damn it, like, you know, because the app just says he's questionable to return, so I jumped on Twitter and it said he was carted off the field, and I was like, that's that. So that would have been nice. What would have happened if I won? I would have been super happy.
No, I mean, like, do you think about like? Well, I guess you didn't get to think about it because it was the first one that happened. But have you ever been to like with a big parlay and you're like, oh, this might cash out if I get $1,000 here, what am I going to do with it?
Yeah, that's the dream. You know,
Yeah,
that's the excitement. But yeah, that one, 2 of the like, the Miami Dolphins were playing like Washington. And that was like one of the first plays of the game was Tyreek Hill went on like a 75-yard TD throw. Like, and I was like, oh, that's sweet. That hit right away. And then the Derrick Henry one hit right away. And I was like, oh, this is looking really good. But yeah, that Tank Dell one, just killer. So anyway, sorry to the fans about my sports gambling, but it's kind of fun.
that's all right.
Random question. Your mustache made me think of this, Tyler. And now that it's December, do you still do the
Did you do
prostate?
Yeah. Yeah.
I did not do. I haven't done Movember the last 2 years. Call it laziness, but I just haven't I just don't really shave my face regularly anymore. So it'll like grow for, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks, and then I'll trim it up. I'll line up the bottom again, but then I just do the same thing in like 3 or 4 weeks later. So I did not do it. I don't think it's as fun to do it, I'll say, in the remote work environment that I'm in anymore. I used to have fun doing it, like going to an office, and I had a couple people that I worked with that also partook in the cause, but now it's not as fun.
I feel like at your work you got a lot of finger guns, like looking good, Ty, that kind of shit.
A lot of
Except for the women.
Yeah, a lot of comments. I got a lot of those gifts sent to me from the office, like, you know, the Toby one. Yeah. So that was sent a lot, but yeah, no, the last 2 years I haven't done it. So
yeah, I've never really been a fan of facial hair, but it's definitely growing on me.
nice. Way to work it in.
That's 1,000 points.
Again,
I asked that question solely just to get that joke off, by the way.
I figured after you said joke. So yeah.
Said joke.
College football, Lorenzo, Texas is in.
Oh, I'm so excited. First of all, yesterday, all the teams that possibly like we needed to lose won. So I went to bed after that Florida State game when they won. I'm like, God, they're shitty. They're just so bad right now without their quarterback.
Yeah.
And then I went to bed. I was like, I just don't think Texas can get in. They're just going to keep. It's either going to be Georgia or Florida State.
I was laughing.
But then the more I thought about it,
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was like, I couldn't. Like after Alabama won and we were texting, coaches were texting, and then after the Florida State game, I was like, I don't know. Can they keep out the Big 12 champ who beat the SEC champ?
No.
And I was like, I don't think so. And then when Florida State didn't get in and Texas and Alabama did, I'm like, oh shit, this is sweet. So me and Mateo were pretty excited.
Yeah, it was the chaos. So I know, Jim, no free shout outs here, but when I was listening to the Pardon My Take podcast last week, they had Herb Street on, and he was talking about like a chaos scenario, and it pretty much played out yesterday where, you know, Texas won, Michigan won, Washington won, Alabama upset Georgia, and Florida State won. And they're just, you know, they said there is no like good solution for that of what played out. So I was laughing last night.
I feel like Jim has a zig on this one, but I want to hear it.
No, so and
All
it's been standing in front of it's been right in front of our eyes this entire time, but somebody was talking about it. I'm like, that's really interesting. The whole NIL thing, I don't know how colleges got this lucky because colleges don't pay the players. It's
Mhm,
boosters that are paying the players.
mhm.
But then who benefits from all of this? Who benefits from your
College.
team being good? The college itself. And what do they do? Like other than house, like have the stadium themselves and hire the coach essentially and have the facility, like they have zero impact. And it's such a huge like I feel like they just pulled something over everyone's eye. Like, hey, I know everybody hates the colleges already, and it's not like, hey, we'll bring in more money so we can lower tuition or do anything that might benefit like the students. We'll just grow our endowment like larger and larger. But it's no, we'll just get fans to pay these people even more, like more and more, prop up our university more and more so that we're more like have more exposure and all this other stuff, get more people that want to come to our school, and we'll just continue to make money hand over fist. And I don't know why I'm like, oh yeah, I guess with all the NIL shit, like the school doesn't really shouldn't give a shit because it doesn't affect that. Like they're not the ones ponying out the money for it. It's boosters and everybody else, but they're the ones that benefit from it overall. So I don't know. Soapbox I just stepped on, but yeah, that's it was just like holy shit. The colleges do all this, don't have to do anything, and they benefit from everything.
Yep. TV deals are insane. A lot of money just being thrown around.
Yeah, I just Googled um like where does the NIL money come from? And this was donor backed groups facilitate NIL opportunities. And so like autograph signings, appearances, fundraisers account for 80% of the money flowing to student athletes. The remaining 20% come from brand deals.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So it's like, okay. And who makes more money off of all of this? The university does.
Yeah.
Kids are making money too. I mean,
Well, right, but
yeah.
essentially, yeah, these kids are, which I'm happy the kids are getting paid, but it blows my mind as more like when Michigan sucked, it used to be like like 10, 15 years ago, it was like you could buy a Coke and get tickets for the next game or whatever it was. Like
That
they
was
ran some
real.
shitty yeah.
Yep.
And then now it's next to impossible and they're just banking money like crazy, not just even on the tickets, but just these TV contracts, like you're saying. And I haven't seen anything where like the university is like, hey, we have all this money. Let's not try to lower our tuition. Right. It costs more money right now to go to SMU than it does Harvard, tuition wise.
Hmm.
And SMU is just getting into, I think, the ACC this next year. So, um, I don't know. It
Yeah.
blows my
Also,
like
also
blows my mind.
the
Scam.
NCAA prohibits schools from paying athletes.
Yeah. The schools can't, but like somebody said, the
Yeah.
collectives can.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I'm just saying,
Um,
like even if like, yeah, we have this money, we can do it too.
there's not, yeah, there's not a lot of outside of the like, there's not a lot of rules around NIL.
Right. They can't play the players, but that doesn't mean that they can't help the student body as a whole. Like
Yeah.
if you're
Yeah.
bringing in billions of extra dollars in
No,
revenue,
I was just saying like that. It goes back to your point. I was just saying like even if they wanted to pay athletes, they are prohibited from doing it.
They are.
and who
Yeah.
wrote the like? Yeah, I'm sure the college
There's
was
very,
like, hey, let's have these rules in here that we can't pay students.
Yeah.
yeah, there's very loose rules on NIL. I do know that. And that's one of the things they think they need to fix, which I would argue, yes, they probably do need to put some guidelines or parameters around them. But I think the NCAA, again, I don't know. I think I did mention that before. They have that huge lawsuit like that will basically, I think the NCAA could very well go away. And then you would just have, I don't know if it's universities would be then bargaining against the players. Like the players would almost have to form their own players association,
Mhm.
similar to how it works with the NFL. I think that's where it's going.
There was
So,
a thing. There's a thing somewhere. It said, I forget what coach it was, but they're saying a good quarterback on the portal is going to be $1 to $2 million, and then it said Brock Purdy's making $600,000
yeah.
in the NFL right
yeah.
now.
It was the Nebraska coach said that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Matt
He
Rule.
said it was
Matt
like
Rule.
yeah, Matt Rule said a good guy in the portal will cost you a couple $1 billion.
Yeah,
And it's rumored the kid that he was at UCLA last year, Dante Moore, he wants 5 million, I read or heard. I don't know. So I don't know if that's
It's also
legit, but
I'm also surprised though, like with the transfer stuff. Like a friend of ours goes to the Colorado School of the Mines or whatever, and they have a
Mhm.
really good football program, but they're division whatever too.
yeah.
But on their team, their quarterback won like the Heisman equivalent, but it was in that conference or that division, right?
yeah.
So, but he came back, he's back again. And I'm really surprised, like, no one's like, hey, there's this dude. Yeah, it's lower competition, but he won their, like, he's their MVP. I'm sure he could do better than fucking Iowa's quarterback or
Yeah.
some other people that just can't move the ball at all. Like, at least this, a dude can play.
That's
Well,
what
maybe-
Dion's kid was in what
Yeah.
what division
Jackson
is that? Yeah.
No,
That's not even a division. That's just
yeah, it is. It's
Is
Division
it-
One.
it is D1.
I think so. Yeah.
All right.
Tyler, just because they're black schools doesn't mean they don't get to be in Division One.
I didn't say that. That's mean.
You thought it
Shut
though.
up.
Well, that's okay. So, anyways,
Well, maybe he did get some opportunities, or people are looking at him, and but it wasn't. Maybe it was Iowa. He's like, I'm not gonna go. They suck. I'm not gonna go there, or whatever. Maybe there was opportunities. He just didn't want to do it, or he liked where he's at, or
maybe,
whatever. I don't know.
maybe.
Jackson
But, like,
State is
I could-
FCS. So that's like D2.
But I don't know. I'm also surprised like Mac schools, like quarterbacks, and those dudes haven't been like picked to go to like Big Ten schools.
Yeah.
There's some movement. Like the kid playing for Oklahoma State yesterday, he was on Michigan's roster like a year or two ago. I saw that. And then
Right, but
obviously,
I feel like it's a lot
Quentin
of
Ewers-
like I feel like it's a lot of dudes that are like, hey, I'm a 4-star or 5-star, and I go to this school. I don't play right away, so I'm going to transfer out. Like Arch
Yeah.
Manning next year, wherever he decides to go.
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think it happens more with those people because they're going to get the money. I think if you're a quarterback at Toledo and you're either going to Iowa State, and then you're a second string there for like what's the point of doing that if you're? I just don't think it's going to happen with the MAC school going to a Power 5 school.
Yeah,
I mean-
I agree. It's probably more Power 5 going to a MAC, that like a kid that's 3 or 4 on the depth chart of like a Big Ten team would go down to a MAC school and then be able to play and probably be a starter. So,
did you see the Michigan reaction to when they said they were going to play Alabama?
I did.
How's that make you feel, Ty?
I feel the same.
My favorite thing
You're supposed to cheer. So
my favorite thing a part of it. My favorite thing a part of it was there just like Alabama.
Yeah, there's like 2 or 3.
One start.
Yeah, there's like 2 or 3. There were 2 different camera angles, and like Harbaugh was just sitting there in the one camera angle. So I was just like, yeah, I don't. So again, my counter to that would be like, are you supposed to cheer for whoever gets picked? Like,
no, but you're not. But I think supposed to feel like you don't want to play them. That's what it sounded like.
Yeah, that's
well,
what
you gotta.
like
you're gonna have to win anyway. So like, it doesn't matter.
But
it's a moot point.
I was talking to Trey last night, and I'm like, this is going to break really well for Michigan. Like, obviously, if you can get Florida State at the 4 spot, I'd much rather play Florida State than I would Bama.
Yeah.
And he's just like,
no,
but this would definitely be.
Yeah,
you still got to go out there and win.
You got to win. Yeah, you got to win. They laid an egg last year with TCU, so they got to win. So got to play.
It's so funny.
Got to play.
Yeah. Jim,
Yes, sir.
we talked a little bit I think after the podcast, and we don't have to talk about this if you don't want to, but the the decorations from your neighbor.
Yeah, I saw him the other day. He's still putting them up.
Oh, there's
Um,
more.
oh,
So it wasn't recorded when we talked about it. So give the
so
listeners like
yeah,
exactly what's
so
happening.
last week my neighbor, he has two Jeep Wranglers that he drives around, and one of them was just parked in his yard, kind of facing out, and he spent all day last Sunday putting some lights on it. And I was like, at the end of it, I'm like, this kind of looks like shit. I've kind of come around with it because he even calls himself Clark Griswold. He's like, you can
Okay.
just call me Clark.
Oh, he
But
said that to you.
yeah, because I was out walking the dog and he's out there every single night just putting up more stuff. He's having an issue trying to find power so that he doesn't blow fuses out.
Yeah.
Oh,
And I'll
because he
send
has
a
too many.
picture. Yeah, he showed me it was like extension cord plugged into extension cord. So, but yeah, he's pretty intense. There's no rhyme or reason for what he has.
Mm.
I will say the Jeep though now looks like a sled, and
Okay.
he's got reindeers in front of it, and he put a fake Santa inside of it. Um, so it doesn't.
How bad
It's
does it
very.
look during the day, though? This is
Oh
what,
yeah. Well,
yeah.
that's all Christmas
Yeah, who said
decorations.
that?
I feel
One of
like
you said it. That was a good point.
I
Like no Christmas decorations
yeah,
look good during the
It
day.
wasn't me. But
it was
counterpoint,
me, but
you also when it's a normal Christmas decoration, it's just a Christmas decoration. This guy has his Jeep just decked out with lights. So it's
I will
I think it's
say
different. I don't know.
the other homes around us are the very like outline traditional like white lights like or like yellowish light,
White
like it looks
lights.
very classy on there. And then there's this multicolored lights
Hmm.
with candy canes in the front yards and everything else. But
So did
um
he? Is he new to the neighborhood, or did they do
it's a
this last year?
second, they did it last year, but not with the Jeep. He just bought this Jeep, and it just
Okay.
threw me for a loop because he just had it parked on his yard.
I would like to make a
um
comment.
and my
Uh
neighbors were like,
Christmas lights are expensive.
what the fuck? Yeah.
Christmas lights are very expensive. So
Can,
obviously new house here and it's bullshit. Like,
you know how I got around it?
you just don't decorate.
Well, we just do those projector things on our house so that we don't have to worry about it.
That's the way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Real
I
simple. They don't look like
Yeah.
shit during the day, except the cords. If you got cords running around, but
I tried to pitch the projector idea and it was shot down because the projector was projecting green and red light, like moving lights, and that would clash with our white lights that we had to get. So
I do like inflatables as well.
ooh,
I like
those are
those.
classy.
Yeah.
Those are classy.
They have some now at the store called At Home. They're 20 feet tall, like gigantic ones. But
Those are the ones I like.
the reviews aren't very good. So I did
I've seen these ones that look like ornaments
Yeah.
that are massive, and you can buy one ornament that's probably like 6 feet tall, or you can get like three or four and like make a like tie them down to each other essentially
Mm,
and
mhm.
make like designs and stuff. But
Another
dude,
question. Um,
oh,
do we need to get Clark Griswold on the dad podcast just to talk specifically about lights?
I think Mike, I was about to say, Ch- uh, Chevy Chase would get us canceled. And
No, not the actual guy.
no,
It
this
might
dude
get
Is he
us some
fun
doesn't.
to talk to?
listeners.
I like him, but my neighbor was like, I was talking to his wife, and the guy only listens to Bible news because all other news outlets are not true. I go, oh, okay. It's
Now that
like,
makes me want to have him on even more.
just to give you a heads up on there. So
Dylan dad?
he came in from California to Texas.
Okay. He's one of those.
So yeah. But he's a nice dude. He's weird, but I like him. He's kind of interesting.
He's a Jeep guy. Yeah. I showed your
He's a
photo.
FedEx driver. delivery truck driver.
It's like the whole like it's a Jeep thing. Like it's a cult. Like if you have a Jeep, you deck out your Jeep, and
But
I
he's
showed
not. No, he's not that though. He's
oh,
former military. I drive this because I'm former military.
okay. All right.
My
He's not
daughter,
like a fun-loving like,
give me
hey,
a
if
rubber
you
duck.
see this
Yeah,
tipped
put the
over,
rubber duck in the
you
front of
know,
the glass. Yeah.
he doesn't have the thing on the back saying like
If you read
everything's
this,
fine. If you're the
yeah,
other side, it said turn over.
yeah.
He's not that.
My daughter
So
asked, or I think it was either my daughter or my son was like, "What's up with the Jeep thing?" I go, Mateo, I don't know. I said, I had a Jeep. I was never like that. I don't know what it's about. It's just people like Jeeps, and
I
he
feel
was
like it
like,
started
okay,
with the wave,
I don't know.
It's
but
I don't know.
the duck plastic duck things in the front window. Just yeah, I don't know what that's about. The Jeep Wave, I remember being a thing. I think Jeeps are cool, but I don't know. I just wouldn't get
they
one. They're horrible on gas
but
mileage.
with the lights though, the neighborhood next to us goes balls to the wall. Like they have arches on their sidewalk that goes all the way down a road, like a street,
Hmm.
and all the houses on the street, like there's an elf house, there's a
Uh, mhm.
Christmas vacation house, there's a what's the Arnold Schwarzenegger one with the
Jingle all the way.
toy Jingle
Yeah,
All the Way house. Like these houses have like the movie
themed.
projecting on their
Mhm.
garage doors.
Are you a little
And
jealous?
I mean, it's pretty legit. It would suck. Like there's
You-
cars that just go up and down this thing all the time.
Oh, I bet.
could
It
you
would get
You got
old
imagine?
pretty
Could you
quick.
imagine moving on that street and they're like, "Hey, this is what we do, by the way," and you're just like, "Nah, fuck that. I'm
no,
not doing that.
I do my own little red twinkle lights. Could you
I'm good. I'm gonna park
imagine?
my Jeep in my driveway or my street in my yard and be cool with it."
Uh, Dude disowned me
No,
so
like his
quickly.
his stuff, even though it's not on brand, like he would fit into that just because they just go all out.
Yeah,
And these are like not cheap homes. It's not
sure.
like like it's 4,000 square foot. Like they're, but it's a lot of them. They're just like engine, because I know a couple of the people that live right there, and they're like engineers here and there. Like that's what they just get this shit ready for Christmas time and go balls out.
I feel like there are
So
some HOA guidelines that are not being followed with these Christmas lights. Arches over the public sidewalk. I feel like that's something in the HOA bylaws that shouldn't be
but
allowed.
what is cool is usually
You
on the
guys don't give a shit.
weekends, usually on the weekends they'll get the local police department to come out there,
Yeah.
and there'll be like a guy that dresses up as the Grinch and like
And
runs
they take
around and like knocks on like car windows as they're driving by or different things, and then the police will go and arrest him, like fake
Cool.
whatever.
that's your
But
tax dollars hard at work.
Yeah.
Nice. I
Do
like
you?
it.
Yeah. I so well. Speaking of that, I was Christmas. I was at a parade yesterday. Lillian was in a parade for a twirling baton. We go to Ida, Michigan, small town. There's cell service is awful there. I was walking around. I was walking around before the parade during the day, and they have a office slash general store. And I told Andrea, if your little town has a general store, you 100% voted for Trump in that town
Probably.
because that they have floats like in election year there was like 6 Trump floats. Like, all right, my guy. Like, but I just thought it was so funny. Like general store, yeah. Okay, cool.
That's small town America to a T.
Yeah,
That's yeah.
yeah. They got country concerts. Just they had a country concert there, and this one girl, she's some country concert, some country singer. I don't know who she is, up and coming or whatever. And I always feel bad because there's like 0 people in the crowd, and it's not like there's a bunch of people anyway. There's probably a little area that can hold 150 people, and that's where they're having this little concert. Just like no one's interacting or doing anything. It's awkward. It was weird. Little towns, man.
Small town America.
Yeah, I go there once a year for a parade because I have to.
Did she do the parade today?
She did. It was raining and terrible, but she did.
I had a source that was there that said that there were protesters there.
Yeah, there was a bunch of protesters. It was like a bunch of police presence too, just in case.
So
But yeah,
Um, do
they,
you
they
think
weren't
this would
they weren't
work?
saying anything. They were just standing there and holding stuff up. But sorry, Jim, go ahead.
Do you think this would work if there was a bunch of protesters? Let's say it was like one of those like Nazi parades, right? Because they just do that shit to like rile up
Yeah.
people. I feel like they're not accomplishing anything. What if everybody just stood there and just pointed at them and laughed at them, like in their face? Like didn't get pissed at them, just laughed at them. I feel like they'd be so self-conscious and they'd get like frustrated that people weren't like yelling at them and you're just like laughing at them and calling them all losers,
Yeah.
that they would be like, and then just like, like, I don't know. Cause there's a thing where at a restaurant here recently, a dude wore like a swastika patch into the restaurant and people were like yelling at him and he made a big scene and all this
That's
other
what they
shit.
want. Yeah.
Right. But I was like,
Yeah.
it would have been awesome if everybody just would have pointed and just started laughing at this like dude, because I'm sure he's so insecure with him, like he'd be like not know what the hell how to react to that, and then would have just left.
We had I forget what we called it, but it was a LGBTQ event at Metro Park. It was like a Pride Day. It was our Pride Day, and we were like prepared for people to protest it because that's just what happens. And I think either last year or 2 years ago, there was like people protesting, but there was like 11 people. Like, okay, well,
Right, and that's the part where it's like you did all this. If there was 100 people just like pointing and like laughing and calling you like losers and pathetic, like it's
Yeah.
like I don't know. I would find that funny.
you are one pathetic loser.
Yeah. I didn't notice them at the parade, Ty. And like right before it started, then I noticed they were standing by the Commodore Perry statue. And then Andrew's like, yeah, they're all down there too. And they're just down the street also, just standing there. But yeah. Again, it doesn't bother anybody. They're just standing there not doing anything.
Well, they were protesting.
Well, I'm saying like there was no word, nothing was said. Um, it was, in fact, they had tape over their mouths. So,
That makes it even easier.
um, it was one of those things where it's like you're always on. Yeah, I wasn't really on edge, but you're like thinking like, all right, well, all it takes is like one person, like to
One
say,
crazy person.
yeah,
to do or say something. Yeah.
yeah. So I was
I
like,
just I know I should be more, I guess, understanding of protesters, but I'm like, dude, what is your protest in Perrysburg, Ohio going to do? I don't know.
I want to know like how many people you get to be like, hey, they made some really good points. I want to check this place out.
I don't know.
I
They're
think
also
the answer is zero.
it just, I don't know. It blows my mind because not to get political, but they're protesting a war that we don't really have control over. Like it's between Israel and Palestine. So
yeah, but
Your vote
we're
matters.
involved in everything though.
that's
Your
true.
vote matters.
My vote
Tyler.
matters. You're right, Jim. I'll vote. I'll vote. Nothing will change.
That's true. Things change.
Slowly. I made a
No,
No,
comment
Obama told
yesterday.
us change. He had a poster and stuff. It said change on it.
Yeah. So clearly,
That
Yeah.
bastard, he never brought the bullet train. I wanted that fucking bullet train so bad, and nothing. No bullet
all the
train
things.
still. Of
That's
all
what
the
you wanted.
things, I was like, dude, let's get it. Let's get that bullet train. Still no bullet train for those of you keeping score at home.
We were able to get some people health insurance that didn't have it, but god damn it, there's no
That fucking
there's
bullet
no
train, man.
bullet train.
The minute somebody told me, do you know if we had a bullet train, we could get to Chicago in like a half hour? And I'm like, that sounds fun. Like, could you imagine? Like, oh, whatever. Sports team is playing in
it's an
Chicago
airplane.
that night. You jump on a bullet train and you're there in a half hour. Like, I was like, oh, that sounds like fun.
I feel like we shouldn't be giving the example of taking a bullet train to Chicago. Maybe a different city that isn't riddled with gun violence.
Oh my God.
I'm just saying.
Okay, bullet train to Detroit, because that was another intersection it would have hooked up to.
There was
Not
a
much
map.
better.
There
No,
was
it
a
actually
map.
is better.
There was
I-
a map of the train system in Europe and the train system in the United States, and it was embarrassing. Like
it's horrible.
like
It's
what
horrible.
But
what they could do and what we can't do.
I, you know why it's like that though.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
get why.
because of
I
lobbyists.
understand.
Yeah,
I understand.
lobbyists.
No.
That's why. That is
No,
why.
it's because after World War II, they had to rebuild all their stuff, and we already had like stuff already taken care. Like Europe had.
Counterpoint to that would be China, though. China had nothing in place.
That's
and
fine, but I'm
they
just.
have built like cities quadruple the size of the
This is a
United
happy
States.
medium somewhere. Happy medium.
They've invested in technology such as bullet trains. We have not. That
Jim,
drives me
yes,
nuts.
you're raising your hand.
So, Tyler brought this up earlier, but so Rick was in town with him because he's now an ATF agent. He was gone for 6 months in Atlanta or Georgia, some like whatever,
Mhm.
and training and
see.
doing all that stuff.
Yep.
I text Tyler Friday because it kind of freaked me out because Rick was like, I was like, "Hey, are you actually starting to work yet?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm heading out on an op." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then
I asked him. I said, "Yeah." So I saw. Go ahead.
I text Tyler. I'm like, "Hey, man, like what? You know, it's not like it blows my mind that hey, our buddy is now openly like, yes, I'll do this, going into high risk, like situations to be where there's guns. I mean, that's what the ATF does is they're looking for guns and
alcohol and tobacco.
Well,
He
yes,
said that,
but,
yeah. So interesting. Let me get to this. So I asked him a lot about that, and I said, "How much of the alcohol and tobacco are you really like looking into?" And he said, "Quote, very little," because he said their major thing is to go after, like felons that cannot or should not have firearms, and to confiscate said firearms if they have them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting. But yeah, to Jim's point, I asked him the same thing. I was like, "How'd the bus go?" And he gave me this weird look, and he's just like, "We actually didn't do it." He's just like, he said something like the guy turned himself in or something like that. So,
but what I can't do or think of is like, because I was even talking to his wife about this a little bit, is like, I don't think I could have a spouse that did stuff in like the military and not know, like, if you were like special forces and like, oh, we're running this rate, like all this type of shit. Cause I was just like, oh, he'll probably text me back at some point. He never did. And then I was just like, hey, how'd it go? Like later on in the day. And then, a few hours after that, then he's like, yeah, no, everything, no issues. So, but it's just like, holy shit. Like,
You're
our
terrified. You don't even
buddies-
live with them. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, this is, not
Intense.
like if I never have to be in an area where there's multiple guns and all that stuff, that's a win for me. And he's he's actively looking to do that. So
Yeah. Damn.
crazy.
Very much so. Before we wrap up, any dad jokes? Jim snuck one in there.
Nailed it. 1,000 points.
Part 2. Again, you can't give yourself the points.
But that's what it's already been set. Like that's how much that's worth.
Again,
And I didn't screw it up.
But the judge has to give it to you.
yeah,
That's
Yeah.
fine. I'm just
And the
reminding her of what
points are made up anyway, and the score really doesn't matter. So
I'm
That's
with.
That's a losers say.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
All right. Ty?
I
Nothing?
got nothing because I was not prepared tonight. I apologize to the listeners.
All right.
Let
Well,
me see if I can find one.
I guess I'll just find one real quick.
I'm trying.
Hey,
How
shout
does-
out to Rossford, by the way, and their athletic facility. That looked amazing.
That's pretty
If
sweet.
you haven't
yeah.
seen it, it looks like a college athletic facility.
And it has all kinds of stuff in there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sweet. Jim text said, "Why can't Perrysburg get something like this?" And I'm like, "We can't even
Yeah.
pass the damn levy right now." So
I'm sure if it had that in there and people knew like, oh, we're getting this thing,
Oh yeah, right.
they don't want to
should
pay for teachers. They want to pay for cool stuff.
I'm sure there was a huge uproar when we got our field redone.
Oh, the
And-
Rossford thing. Sorry, my phone was like trying to update and it keeps cutting in and out. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
the Rossford thing is crazy to me. But as soon as I saw it, I immediately thought to myself that all of that money is probably all of those businesses that are now Rossford that once was Perrysburg. But I also thought that is that needed like for Rossford? Is that needed?
I mean, they still have sports there. It's not like
I just felt like it was way overdone.
just because they suck. Yeah.
Not
you're
that.
not going to build
I
like
wasn't
a
even
shitty
going to
thing.
knock on Rossford. I just thought it was like there's a lot going on in that facility where I was like, is this actually going to all be used? Like,
Also, I heard it's not just for Rossford. Like other people can use it too.
okay,
Yeah, that's what it made it sound like.
Yeah.
But
one of the rooms looked like a video game room. Did you see that?
Yeah, man.
Like,
Esports is a big
esports,
thing,
dude.
Yeah.
Come on.
does
we have a
Perrysburg
team
have
down there.
esports?
Yeah, we were state champs like 2 years ago.
Hell yeah.
Is that
Nail it.
is that where I tried to vote for and it went down? It's esports.
Oh man.
It is on the map, baby. Ugh.
Anyway, it does look sweet. I'll give
Yeah.
that.
So shout out.
It
Yeah,
looked
man.
cool. Just to me, it looked a little overdone. That's all I'll say.
Would you rather, but do you want something where you're like, okay. Or like, oh wow, they really went
Now
above and
the
beyond for that
the
thing.
Perrysburg football field looks great. That looks great. That's beautiful.
Oh my gosh.
That was needed too. I had a source that said it was overdue for a
Oh, yeah.
refurb.
Very much so. The video too from when they go from the transition from the old field to the new field and how much the green pops now. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's like night and day.
So Perrysburg football is now pro transitioning. Is that what you're saying? Let's get a headline here.
Yes. They're
Well,
transitioning.
Oh,
I make the headlines. I decide. I'm the captain.
look at me.
We need to get that NIL money into the high school sports. That's what we need to do.
Can you guys do that in Ohio?
They voted it down. They tried 2
Okay.
years ago and they said no.
Yeah, they shot that down into maybe not. I think so.
Why is it bad to iron a 4-leaf clover? Because you should never press your luck. In honor of
liked
our
it.
gambling today.
I liked it.
Nice. Ty, what's yours?
My phone keeps trying to update. So when I started looking it up, my phone just started to try and go through like a bunch of updates. And when it does that, it starts slowing you guys down and the connection gets choppy. So I literally powered down my phone just so it would stop doing that. So
Appreciate that.
Listeners
Thank
will
you.
not get a dad joke from me today. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, as always, thanks to our super fans, Rachel. Who else?
George.
Big shout out for George Smith.
Rachel.
George, I'm sorry about the
uh,
loss for your Eagles. They got
Hold on.
murdered.
Let me get through this. Rachel, Kurt, Megan,
Booker.
Scott, OG Bucher,
OG Bucher.
and of course, thanks, George. This has been 3 Different Dads.
Love you guys.
Love you. Bye.
Love you guys.
If there's nothing left to say.